Boom! What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is here to bring you guys what we're going to call They're Not Who We Think They Are. We're going to talk about some overrated people. We're going to talk about some underrated people, all on this 49ers roster. We're going to try to keep it limited to players, unless someone's trying to be outside of the box here and think coaches, but we'll get to that all later. Before we do, I want to let you guys know who we have today. It's myself, my man Nick, Zach, and Dillon. The crew is here. We want you guys to give us a follow. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Click down there in the lower right side or on the left side, depending on what angle you got your screen on. It's a red box that says subscribe. Click that button for us right now, okay? If you've done so already, find someone else and do that, please, as well. You guys can check out the website. That is www.nothingbutniners.com. There you are going to see a bunch of articles from a bunch of great writers we have going on over there. We have videos. That's right here on the YouTube channel. We have a podcast. You guys can find us on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, any platform that has podcast, we are there. So you guys make sure you check that out. The Instagram page is going on also, IG. That is Nothing But Niners. We have Snapchat. We have Twitter, Nothing But 9ERS. And then there's a Facebook page. All right. We got a ton of followers over there on the Facebook page also. So you guys make sure you are not missing out on anything. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to assume that everybody's doing good. And I get thumbs up from everybody. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. All right. So let's do this, guys. Our overrated, underrated player segment. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to kick this one off with my overrated player. And I am so glad that I get to go first here, because this guy was a first-round pick very recently. Okay, our number 3 pick this year in the draft, Solomon Thomas, has to be the most overrated player on this entire freaking roster, and it drives me crazy. Solomon Thomas doesn't do anything special. I was never wowed with him coming out of college. And people talk about his athleticism. They talk about his motor. When he was getting drafted, they kept showing this game against Mitchell Trubisky and that North Carolina team. And they were like, look at him, look at him. This is his team. This is when he was shining. And I get it, the stats and all. But when I watched that game, when I look at draftbreakdown.com and I was watching that film on him, there's plenty of plays where he's just standing around not doing anything. And it's not that he's doing that here. He's just not effective. And they're moving him all over the place. He doesn't fit on this roster right now. And so I think that Solomon Thomas is going to take up a roster spot on this team from someone else who might deserve it a little bit more than him. And that's why I'm giving him my most overrated player on this team right now. It's not that he's not good. It's not that there's no potential. But number 3 pick, not worthy. And now, if any of you guys disagree with me on this, I would love to see it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be checking with the live comments with the fans also. So if you guys want to respond to what I'm saying, if you're watching this, guys, type in your responses right now. Let me know. I'm going to be reading them. But I'm going to open up the floor to you guys, to Nick, Zach, Nick, Zach, and Dillon. If you guys have anything you want to say on my Solomon Thomas, let me know. And if not, if you guys all happen to agree, yay me. But we'll go ahead and give it to Nick to give his underrated if no one else disagrees. All right, so Dillon first, then Zach, and then Nick, because that's the order you guys came off of mute.
I've been very vocal from the day that we drafted him how much I hate that pick. I cannot stand the pick of Solomon Thomas. I think it was a waste of a 3rd overall pick. And what makes it worse is we were going to do it at 2nd overall too. So, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think he's taking up a roster spot. First off, we didn't even need to draft somebody else for the defensive line. And second off, he's not good at it. I'm sure he'll get better, but that's not what you look for a 3rd overall pick. You're not looking for a project. You're looking for an immediate impact.
Totally disagree with both of you. So I don't see how you can say somebody's overrated when they've had barely any time through training camp this year, came in late to training camp because of school, worked his way onto the team, and he's a rookie. It's just like when you guys call me out about Akello, calling Akello a bust. It's like it's the same shit. You can't call a rookie who's in his first year an overrated player. You don't really know what he has yet. So I got to disagree with you, Mike. I got to disagree with you, Dillon. Did I like the pick? No, I did. I can agree with you on that part. I think somebody would have been a little bit better, like a Derek Barnett or somebody like that. Like, that's who I wanted. But I wouldn't I wouldn't take it as far as saying he's overrated just yet. I mean, I think you have to have at least 2 years going into see if you're going to be an overrated player or not. So I disagree with that. That's to be seen. That is to be seen. So
let me just respond to that really quick. All right, you can call a guy pick number 3 overrated. He had the same setbacks that Eric Armstead had, that DeForest Buckner had, because they all came from that same conference, or they had the same college rules where they couldn't participate in the full off season and all that stuff because of the school scheduling. That doesn't stop those guys from producing. And then he played in 16 games. It's not like he came in week 5. Okay, it's not like he came in week 10 like Jimmy Garoppolo, who didn't have an offseason, who didn't have X, Y, and Z, just like this guy, and learned a much more complicated scheme and executed at a higher level. All right, this guy was a number 3 pick with expectations put on him, and he wasn't a fit from the beginning. That's the thing that gets me. And the worst part, what really makes it overrated, is this: if Solomon Thomas was picked in the 3rd or 4th round, that would be different. I would feel different about him. But being that he was the first pick for our last year's draft, he is guaranteed a roster spot for at least 3 more seasons. He's guaranteed to stick around just because. And that's not fair, because I'm not seeing the production worthy of it. So, Zach, I know you wanted to jump in on that also. Go ahead and break it down for us, buddy.
I lost your sound there for a minute. I don't know if it was just me or if it was everybody. So
Can you guys hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let Zach respond.
Didn't let me unmute. I hear you and Thomas think quite a bit, but at the same time, to compare him to Jimmy Garoppolo is foolish. Like, yeah, they came in at the same time, you could say, but Jimmy's been in the league for 3.5 years. So to say that they kind of didn't really get the same amount of time, sure, but having a foot in the NFL sure is a hell of a leg up than being at Stanford. I do agree with you that Solomon Thomas probably shouldn't have been the pick at 3. Looking back now, hindsight, maybe Marshawn Lattimore. Could you imagine a Lattimore, Reuben Foster rookie duo at first draft? Like they couldn't have gotten any better than that. Even if they did wanted to go defensive year, which they did, they could have gone with Derek Barnett for further more productive season than Solomon Thomas. However, I am with Nick on a tad bit that season. We got to give him. I mean, he might be an all pro. He might turn into the position for the 49ers. So it's like we have to in rushing to judgment, but at the same time, overall pick does kind of come with some immediate production. I can see both sides on that one. Am I supposed to give my overrated player or not yet?
No, not yet. So I appreciate the feedback on there. I want to get to the comments, and then we're going to bounce it to Nick to give his overrated player. So some of the people say, this is Eternal Creator. I feel the same as I did at the draft. We didn't need him. Nick compared him to Witherspoon, so Eric Charles said Witherspoon needs to bulk up. He also said how many draft picks and undrafted free agents that we got ended up sucking. Not too many. I think he's trying to say that in comparison to us investing such a high draft pick. Go Hard says Blair can do everything, maybe even better at this point. And that's saying something with where these guys came onto the team. Eternal Creator also said, I think he'll work out, but wasn't a priority. John Lynch may have been a little biased there. That's that Stanford connection. You know what I mean? So we'll see. He said no sound. I want to see more sacks, and we'll get it. The offense, they'll try to block an edge, and then Mike, some linemen, up a couple years. All right. So, Nick, we're going to go ahead and toss it to you, man. You go ahead and break down who your overrated player is on this roster at this moment.
My overrated player is probably your favorite player, and that's Daniel Kilgore. Daniel Kilgore is definitely an overrated player in this offensive scheme on this team anymore. He did start to have a better second half of the season, but there's definitely a lot better out there that we can pick up that can actually do what he does and probably do it better. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this.
There's nothing else to say about that. The only thing I would disagree with would be the fact that even calling him overrated, because I don't even think anybody thinks he's good. So
no, there are people out there that love. I see it all the time that love Daniel Kilgore. There are a lot of people.
Listen, I was extremely high on Daniel Kilgore coming last season, coming into this season. This year was a bad season for him, but the problem is that he's not highly rated. We all know he's bad, and we didn't invest a lot in Daniel Kilgore to get him here. So that's how I'm basing this off. Like, I don't expect anything from Daniel Kilgore, but where Solomon Thomas was picked up gives me expectations. Now, I understand how you say he's overrated because there are people who would actually bring him back. All right, and so that's because he's a pending free agent this year. That's an issue where people are like, bring him back and let him compete. And if you're of that mindset where you want to bring him back, I could understand how you say, all right, he's overrated. I get that because he had a down year. And if it weren't for Jimmy Garoppolo's ability to navigate in the pocket and that quick release, he would have had an even worse year than what he actually ended up finishing with. So I completely understand you're overrated, Daniel Kilgore there. As much as it hurts my heart, or as much as it would have hurt me last year, I completely get it now at this time. So I hear you. I hear you. All right. We're going to do Zack next and then Dillon. So, Zack, you get to break down your overrated player there.
All right. My overrated player is somebody who I don't even know if he saw the field last year, and I think he's still getting way over by fans online by saying because we have him, we don't need to address a specific position. Smith. I don't understand. They think he's the P. Malcolm Smith of the Seattle Seahawks. That's the guy that's on the bench, but they forget trash in Oakland. And pretty much the only reason why we brought him to San Francisco, we can assume, is because he knew the Robert Saleh system and he wanted to help teach the guys. Maybe it's a benefit to the Niners that he wasn't able to see the field last season, this season, but it's severely overrated, and I would have no problem replacing him even for a lower level rookie. I think that they probably have a brighter upside than Smith. Curious to see what you guys think about that.
I kind of saw that one coming. I knew that's what you were going to say when you started talking. And I am one of the people that's hyped up Malcolm Smith. And I have no problem admitting that. I will agree that I probably hype him up a little too much because he was one of my a positive ad in my opinion, and I guess just the fact that I was excited to see him has got me just increasing my excitement the whole time. So I think he'll be all right in the system, but I also do feel like I hype him up sometimes.
All right. So here's the thing with Malcolm Smith, right? It's hard to hype him if you don't have expectations for him. And I keep coming back to that because we know that he was a liability in Oakland in coverage. But he also led that team in tackles. So it depends on how they plan on using him in this system, right? Like if he's out there and he's going downhill, I kind of have a lot of confidence in what Malcolm Smith can do. So maybe I'm one of those guys you guys are talking about saying that, we're overrating him because I like what we got from Brock Coyle this year next to Reuben Foster. You're telling me that I can get someone a little bit more athletic and someone more familiar in this system with Malcolm Smith, then I do feel confident. And then I do feel like we don't need to address that linebacker position. Here, people are bombing on the Raiders. Cable. Sorry. So we got here. You know what? Let me go back a little bit because we have some from Nick's person also. So this was the Eternal Creator said we need to upgrade at the center position. So he agrees with you there. Go hard, my man, bringing up the facts about Daniel Kilgore that I did early this season. Kilgore was rated the Niners' best O-lineman last season until his injury, per PFF. Something else that I told them, but they didn't want to listen to me. Go hard, but thank you for knowing your stuff. You know what I mean? But he did digress this year, guys. We're not being foolish here. All right. And then when it comes to Zack's Malcolm Smith, let me see. We have here Malcolm led Oakland in tackles in 5 years with 11 million guaranteed. Listen, that right there makes him overrated. He's not worth that kind of money. And so because of that, again, so your draft status and your contract status are what people are going to judge your production on. I don't think he's going to equal that kind of production. So I have to side with you there, man. I like your overrated pick. So let me make sure I don't have any other comments here that I'm skipping. Smith, Foster, Thomas. No. Foster's not one of the overrated guys. He should be fine next to Foster, says Eternal Creator, if he's healthy all year. I'm not even going to read. I'm going to read it, but we're not going to respond to it. Can you imagine if Garoppolo walked? We're not going to do that. We're not going to cry. There's talk about Niners drafting Alabama linebacker. Wait. We're getting off topic here. All right. So Go Hard says 25 mil, 6 mil, 5 years, 11 million guaranteed. And we did hear a lot of how he was having a great camp. I think Malcolm can get it done. What we were hearing before, but we were also hearing from those same writers that Brian Hoyer was the man. So Go Hard, we got to take that with a grain of salt, brother. So we'll see what happens, man. He has an opportunity to prove that he's not overrated, but I just don't know if he is he going to lead this team in tackles? Where are they going to play him? That's going to make a big difference. So let's give the floor to Dillon now for his overrated player, and then we'll get some responses to that afterwards.
This one I had a lot of thoughts on who I was going to take. I really thought about trying to derail the Breida train, just because everybody knows I'm not on the Breida train at all. But I backed off because there was one that I wanted to talk about more. And I feel like he was on your list too. I feel like Garrett Selleck is overrated. And I'll explain it. We even had an article that came out earlier this year about I think it was called "Why Was Garrett Selleck Wrong?" or "Why Was I Wrong About Garrett Selleck?" Something like that. We weren't, okay? Because if you didn't notice, George Kittle came in and did better than Selleck even thought about doing whenever Kittle was hurt. Selleck just benefited from Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not a good tight end still. That didn't change. If you bring Vance McDonald back, he's probably going to have more production than before. They're still not good tight ends. And George Kittle should be better, hopefully next year after a rookie season. But we weren't wrong about Garrett Selleck. He still sucks. He just had a really good quarterback throwing him the ball.
I disagree.
That's fine.
All right, go ahead, Nick. You can respond first.
I mean, Selleck was really never given the opportunity to actually play. If you can think back to the years that he's been playing, it was always McDonald, who was way overrated. Selleck would come up with one or two good plays every time he would play, and he was a better blocker. He's getting better at blocking, I should say. Vance McDonald was a better blocker, but Selleck has gotten better at blocking. Am I going to sit here and say that his success this year has nothing to do with Jimmy Garoppolo? No, because your quarterback makes you who you are as well. But he has tendencies to be a good tight end. Do I love him? No. Am I real hyped on the Selleck time? Not probably. But I wouldn't call him overrated. I think he's a good fill-in type tight end who can make plays when needed, and his blocking has gotten extremely better. And I think him and Kittle, with their size and their strength and their speed, kind of complement each other as tight ends for the future of this team. So I don't think I don't think that he's overrated. But I think that there is a possibility that he's been overlooked in previous years and not really given a chance to show what he's capable of doing.
My turn. All right. So, listen, man. I think Garrett Selleck is a lot like Daniel Kilgore. It's hard to call him overrated because I don't have expectations for him. Right? I mean, doesn't that mean something? Like, he's slow. I look at him as like a very poor man's Greg Olson. You know, I'm not overly impressed with his blocking, but he's slow and he's got consistent hands. If you throw him the ball 100 times, he's going to catch 80 of them. Like that's it. I don't expect much. I don't expect yards after catch. I don't expect him burning anyone down the field like Vernon Davis or Delaney Walker or Vance McDonald. He doesn't have that kind of speed. You know what I mean? It's just Garrett Selleck, just whatever. So it's hard for me to call him overrated. Plus, he's got to be getting pennies. Oh no, he does have a big contract. Didn't he just get a new contract? Who was extended right before Balky left? There was a
McDonald. McDonald got extended.
I think they both did, didn't they?
Yeah, they both did.
One of you guys look that up for me. If Selleck got a new contract, he's 100% overrated. He is 100% overrated, and I'm gonna slide with you on that. Zach, did you want to add anything to that? And then I'll look at the comments over here also, because people are going off. They're talking about, what about that other guy, Logan Paulson? Logan Paulson is 100% overrated. He's been cut 3 times and still manages to come back. Go ahead, Nick. What's up?
Got a 4-year deal worth $14 million.
Only $14 million.
Yeah, 4 years.
Only $14 million.
$5 million guaranteed.
Yeah, $5 million.
That's kind of hard for me. I don't know.
You can't. That's not even an overrated. That's not even an overpayment.
No, it's not. It's really not. I can't. He's playing for $1 million a year guaranteed, 1.25 guaranteed a year. I can't call that overrated, man. I don't know, man. All right, Zach, did you want to jump in on that also? If not, we're gonna give it back to Dillon so he can do his underrated. Oh wait, Zach's gonna jump in here. Oh no, okay.
Send it over.
Okay, let me check the room here really quick. Let me read some more of these messages. I love Selleck time. We got a dilly in here. Hey, we got a dilly, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we have Selleck time overrated, says Dillon. Oh wait, that's from us. My bad. But I like Selleck time. Let's see. Selleck is slow. Selleck excelled due to Jules scheming. Okay, Kyle scheming him open and finding and his blocking has been shit since 2014. Okay, it looks like people don't like Garrett Selleck. Selleck is a great career backup. What about that other tight end that no one talks about? Paulson. Yep. Selleck, just like Kilgore, are good teammates, locker room guys, in my opinion. Okay, all right. So go hard, dropping some knowledge in here. I think Selleck is rated just right. All right, now that comment is from, where'd it go? People are still typing. Hold on. You guys are jumping all over. Hold on. Here we go. Eternal Creator says, I think Selleck is rated just right to me. I never got overhyped, but he's not a liability like Vance. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right, Dillon. So now let me, before you get to the I had my overrated guys here that weren't mentioned were Matt Breida, even though you almost mentioned him. And the other guy was actually Joe Williams. I'll save that for another time, but I won't get into that. All I'll say is you have to be a pretty damn good player. People were saying cut Carlos Hyde at the beginning of the season, and he had never taken a snap. So for that alone, he was overrated in my book. All right, so let's get to these underrateds here. I can't wait to see how you guys do with this part.
I had a lot that I was trying to choose from on this one too, but I think I'm making my decision right now after looking at my 3. I think I'm gonna go with Cassius Marsh because I feel like he hasn't had the time to really get in there and prove what he's worth. So that's why I give him the underrated. I think give him a little bit longer, and he's not the premier pass rusher that you want, But in the short time that we saw, he was able to get to the quarterback. He was able to break up a lot of plays and make stuff happen. And we got him for what? He was off New England's. We got him off waivers from New England, right? I mean, it was basically like oh yeah, we'll take you in, and then he comes in and he's a difference maker. So I mean, I feel like the fact that he was a difference maker after being completely worthless is like that alone makes him underrated.
All right, so I kind of like that. I like what Cassius Marsh did this year. He came in, he was pretty solid, and like when you pick up a guy for pennies, it's really really hard to dislike anything that he does. So the value increases a lot, and he didn't get a lot of credit. I saw a couple of tweets once in a while. Who's the tattooed bandit out there making plays? So I like Cassius Marsh. I think that's a good call, an underrated player for sure. Absolutely underrated. So let's see what we got in here. Marsh is better than Aaron Lynch. Ooh.
I agree with that.
All right. Dillon's got to get out of here. So is there anything you want to tell people?
Guys, so glad I got to throw everything in there real quick. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Be safe, brother. We got over here also, I like Marsh. He took Lynch's job. That's another good one. Let me see. I think that was all the Marsh comments we got there. All right, so we're going to bounce it back to Zack for Zack's underrated player now.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me too. I feel like the Niners are pretty much a team of underrated players at this point. The majority of the roster, but I gotta go with Colbert, man, or Colbert. Called out his rookie season, came in, late round pick, and he just balled out, man. And the Niners look to be set from now on. And he kind of made expendable. We don't know if they're going to bring Eric Reed back. We don't know what's going on with Tart, Ward. Who the hell knows what's going on with Jimmy Ward? So it's Colbert stepped in, and the Niners didn't miss a beat. If anything, they improved at the safety position. The bar is sky high. He already said it's sky high, so I can't imagine how he's going to perform his sophomore year. But as a 49ers fan, you can't help but be extremely excited watching Adrian Colbert out there on the field. I mean, the Punisher, he's laying dudes out, knocking helmets off, getting the defense hyped. The energy that he brings to the defense is infectious, and it's great because Reuben Foster isn't always able to stay on the field, and somebody with his charisma and leadership skills is much needed, especially in the secondary. So I'm going to go with Adrian Colbert.
That is a great name as far as contract and versus production. The issue that I'm going to have with it is that it's hard to call him underrated. Everyone wants him as a starter. Everyone's saying, look, we don't need Eric Reed. We can move Jimmy Ward. We got him and Tart now, and let Ward play safety corner. Like, everyone loves this guy so much. He's getting nicknames and T-shirts made. I mean, he is loved by everybody. How is that underrated? You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you.
If that's your argument, I hear you on that. If that's your argument, then let me switch to Trent Brown. Is probably playing one of the most underrated positions in all of football, and that's offensive line. And nobody's gonna look to them for the sexy pick. But Trent Brown is right tackle in all of football. The guy's huge. He's a monster. He's young, and he's been able to stay relatively healthy. I think that's a huge key moving forward, especially now that the Niners have Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to be able to protect him. They have Joe Staley, the older vet, on the left side. I think Trent Brown's a rock at the right side. And I see your point with Colbert. He did prove his point. Maybe at the beginning of the season or even mid-season, we could argue underrated, but it up there, and he's known, and he's starting to get a more household name. So I'll switch it to Trent Brown then. My dude, Big T Brown.
Excellent choice right there, man. And by the way, guys, we had an interview on here on our YouTube channel with Trent Brown. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you guys go and do that, okay? I would drop the link in here for you, but I don't want to do all the searching and mess up anything while we're broadcasting live. But you guys make sure you check out the Trent Brown interview. He talked about his upcoming season with the 49ers. Absolute great pick right there, Zach. Underrated position, underrated player. Everyone is looking for Trent Brown to fail. He's not the right size. You know, he's too tall. He's too this and he's too that. Yet that man just continues to shine. I'm extremely hype about Trent Brown, and I don't think he gets his due diligence. People are still saying maybe he's not a fit. Maybe he's not a fit. What more does Trent Brown have to do to prove to you guys that he belongs here? You know what I mean? So I like the Trent Brown pick. Nick, what say you, brother?
All right, so I didn't comment on the Malcolm Smith stuff because I think he's overpaid, obviously, and I don't want to say he's overrated, but I'm okay if he's overrated because my underrated player is Brock Coyle. This guy played, we let go of Navarro Bowman, a Malcolm Smith injury, and Brock Coyle came in and played way more decent than any of us would have ever thought. I mean, don't get me wrong, he had some ups and downs throughout the year, but he was sufficient enough at the position to be able to play full force and not be losing anything or gaining much on the field. He was a legitimate linebacker. He played there. He made some good tackles. He made some bad tackles. He had his good games. He had his bad games. But I think for the most part, we overlook what kind of season he had. He actually had a really decent season. You know, even the last 6-7 games, he really stepped up and started playing. And he plays on special teams. He plays on, plays linebacker. He plays all the time. He plays well. So I think that's the reason why I'm going to go with underrated, because of the fact of what he came in and did for the position when we thought, damn, we're already starting off a season with Navarro Bowman not playing or not here, and Malcolm Smith's already hurt. Reuben Foster can't stay healthy. Brock Coyle came in and did his job, man. So I have to call that as an underrated player for this year.
That's another excellent choice, man. I remember when we first got him, I was sitting around thinking, look, we got Bowman, we got Foster, Malcolm Smith. What do we need Brock Coyle for? He's only going to be a special teams guy. And then when Bowman left and then Smith got injured, well, no, I'm sorry. We had Ray Armstrong also. We were stacked at that linebacker position. And I was like, Brock Coyle was only brought in to be a special teams guy. Little did I know he would end up starting the majority of the games of that position of middle linebacker. And so he played very, very well and far exceeded my expectations. I 100% assumed that he was going to be just a special teams guy. And I was happily wrong about that. So I really, really, really like that, man. That's a great pick there for an underrated player in Brock Coyle. So I guess that leaves me. Zach, did you want to touch on that before I move on?
I just want to add real quick. It's a hell of a turnaround from going from who he was in the beginning of the rated player that we could call now. Hats off to Brock. He came in and we were hoping he wouldn't be more than a special teams player into the starting lineup. And he actually, he was able to improve game by game and play better. And I mean, I wouldn't call him a high level starter in this league at linebacker, but he's definitely proved himself that he belongs in this league. So just half odds to Brock, and that's a great pick, Nick.
Yeah, I remember his first game, man. It was right after Bowman was traded or cut, whatever. And it was like, damn, like we're in for it. But that was really my only like down game on him. After that, he was really good. I'm not gonna he wasn't great. He wasn't missing and blowing assignments. That's what it was. He was serviceable and did his job well enough where you weren't yelling at your screen because of him. And that's what you want. You know what I mean? That's what you wanted. And so that's an excellent, excellent pick. All right. So I was trying to think outside the box here. I have a couple of guys here. Believe it or not, I got Matt Breida listed as overrated, and I also have Matt Breida listed as underrated. I was willing to argue both of those, but I'm not going to do that. Also, but I'm not going to go with Eric Reed. I'm actually going to go with another Eric on our team, and that's Eric Armstead as an underrated player. Everyone is ready to throw in the towel on this guy. Everyone's ready to give up on him. And Eric Armstead really, really deserves a shot in this system with this line and with the offense that we're going to have now. Eric Armstead came in and he worked hard, and yes, he gets injured often and things like that. But when he's on the field, he's solid. He's never had an opportunity to be flashy, and they move him around a lot, and they want him learning different positions and things like that. But let me tell you guys, I think Eric Armstead can be special in this system. And so with everyone being so willing to throw him away, let's trade him, let's get rid of him and all that. There's no way I want to get rid of somebody like Eric Armstead when we have guys like Solomon Thomas still on the team. I'm sorry. It really, really bothers me. So Eric Armstead is going to be my underrated player. Go ahead, Nick. I know you want to jump in on this, but I'm just saying, man, my underrated player is Eric Armstead. That's going to be my one right there.
No, I just laughed at the Solomon Thomas thing again. I mean, it goes for both of them. I mean, Eric Armstead really hasn't even had a full year yet, so I mean, you can consider him underrated. So I can't argue that fact because of the fact that he can't stay healthy. So, or you said you think that he can do well in this system, which I think that he can as well. I think that he just really hasn't had the opportunity. The same way I said with Selleck, the same way I said with Solomon Thomas. But in all naturality, what we're saying here basically is it was still hard for us all to go through here and pick an underrated or an overrated player. Vice versa, one way or the other. And that just tells me that we have a lot to look forward to. We have a lot of young guys on this team, a lot of guys that can really fit into this system. It's not like we're going, okay, well, it's easy. Nick Ballore, he's overrated, or, whoever we can say. It wasn't an easy choice. I know I stared at the roster for, I don't know, a good hour trying to think of reasons why to pick somebody that was overrated or why to pick somebody that was underrated. And I didn't come up with very many of them. So, but that just shows us that we have a lot to look forward to. I mean, we could keep going that there's guys that are underrated. You can look at all the guys this year. Trent Taylor, all our rookie draft class this year pretty much are pretty much all underrated because we don't know what they can do. But they come out and then you could be like, oh, well, they had a really good year. They're overrated. Are they really that good? So it's to be seen. This team is definitely on the rise up. And I'm surprised not one person in this room said that Jimmy Garoppolo is overrated. I'm really surprised. Just because I thought there'd be just one person that would say that Jimmy Garoppolo is overrated.
How on earth would Garoppolo be overrated? The undefeated. Listen, the only quarterback to ever have a hotter starting streak is Ben Roethlisberger. How do you call him overrated? How?
Hey, I would never do that. But our Niners fans, they always find somebody that will say Jimmy Garoppolo or Patrick Willis in his prime, he's overrated. You know what I mean? You'll always find that one. And that's just a surprise to me that not one person said Jimmy Garoppolo. That means that this franchise is turning around and people are actually starting to look at people as to what they are and see where we're going, man. Go ahead, Zach.
The same guys calling Patrick Willis and Garoppolo overrated are probably the same guys that were clamoring for Blaine Gabbert to win a Super Bowl when he was under center with us.
I wouldn't say that because Mike was calling for Blaine Gabbert to win a Super Bowl. I was calling it with Brian Hoyer. But, yeah, no, guys, I think that –
Let's be clear here, okay, Nick? I was calling – for the Niners to win a Super Bowl, not just Blaine Gabbert, okay? I don't care who you could have put anybody under center. I don't care if it was Anquan Bolden playing quarterback. Yeah, I won a Super Bowl for that person, okay?
Hey, we're all about the team. But like I said, man, we got a lot to look forward to, man. The Seahawks are on the downwind, the Cardinals are on the downwind, the Raiders are on the downwind, and the Niners are on the uproar, man. So no matter how we look at it, overrated, underrated, we got a couple good seasons coming ahead of us, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we get out of here, I want to read some more comments. These guys, the fans watching are excellent, man. They have some really good names in here. Kawan Williams was mentioned as an underrated player in here. And this is a guy that was brought in and got an extension right away, a 3-year extension. He had his ups and downs, but I like Kawan Williams for the most part. I think that he can be serviceable. And he's going to have some competition next year. With Adrian Colbert coming out as dominant as he was, with Jaquiski Tart being as good as he was, if those two guys take over as safety, who's to say we can't pop Jimmy Ward back in the slot? I don't know if you guys remember when Jimmy Ward was playing slot, but he was pretty damn good too. So that makes some competition in that position there. So I like that. That was a good underrated name from the fans that are watching also. Another one was where to go? Marquise Goodwin. I'm surprised none of us said Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin had zero expectations coming here. Everyone said he's a downfield threat and he's going to drop the ball. And through the first 4 weeks, that is exactly what we got from Marquise Goodwin. we saw him drop some gimmies, man, 80 yards down the field, ball right in his hands, just from his fingertips right to the ground. But he turned it around. He showed the ability to run routes very well, and he showed some reliability with his hands. I don't know what got into him. I don't know if he found Jerry Rice's gloves or the stickum. Yeah, see, Zach's got him up there on the screen, man. He's got him there. That's what I'm talking about for the underrated players. Exactly. Goodwin, Colbert, Brown. Exactly. And so, those are the things that I'm talking about. Like he was another one that was very underrated and came in and played well. Someone who I almost listed as underrated. I know he's bad, but Laken Tomlinson, I almost listed as an underrated player. And it was all because of the hype from his first game in. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't even remember who we played against. But after we acquired him, we had 0 sacks that game. We went from getting our quarterbacks killed to a 0-sack game for Laken Tomlinson's first one. And I was ready to say, oh, shit, we just saved the offensive line. I was going crazy over that. And then reality set back in. He wasn't as good as we thought, but that offensive line actually did pretty good. And there was another offensive lineman that stepped up a lot, and that was Fusco. He should be an honorable mention for underrated players. And then also I saw in here Raheem Mostert. I remember when we acquired him, when we had him, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But special teams took a big hit in his absence. He's just a gunner. You know what I mean? That's what he does. You don't expect much from him as far as offensive production. But when he was on the field for special teams, he was special. He was special, man. First guy down there to make a hit. Zach, did you want to jump in and say something before we get out of here?
Add to that, Mostert, I think the first week he got hurt was when we played Chicago, and that was when Cohen took kick, or was it just a punt? I forget what it was, but I know that they had a special teams touchdown on us, and that was highlighting how important Mostert actually was for the Niners on special teams, because as soon as he was gone, we led up to our first special teams touchdown of the season. So just kind of.
Yeah, you broke up at the end there, but I can't agree with you anymore, man. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's first day out, kickoff return for a touchdown. And they had big returns that entire game. That whole game, it wasn't just that one time. It was that whole game they were running all over on us. So, Nick, you want to take us home, man? I think we're all done here. You guys make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this video with people. And, Nick, do your thing, baby.
Yeah, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button. You know where to find us everywhere you want us to be. Make sure you check out our new pieces on nothingbutniners.com on the defensive and offensive positional players. And then also, big shout out to Zack for doing all our images. Mike, NY to the Bay, for holding down Instagram. Got that Snapchat, got the nothingbutniners.com. Check out the YouTube page. Obviously, you're on that already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got to get to trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. For our 1,000 subscriber, I think we're going to do a giveaway. Just haven't decided what it is going to be yet. If you guys all don't already know, let's make sure you guys all congratulate Mike and his family on the new birth of their healthy baby. So once again, Mike, congrats on that. And yeah, guys, above all else, man, stay faithful. We got a lot to be looking forward to. We out.